Good evening. It's BPM at night. Hey guys, the chat is open. I know you're probably like cooking or something. No, I promise guys, this is gonna be a really good one. You came to the right one. Hope you guys can hear the music. Is it like good volume? Okay, cool.
I can hear it, yeah.
Okay, cool. Little background vibes. Come on in, guys. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming to the monthly meeting. Get started in just a moment. Letting people on in. Hey, Lachey. Got some cool people in the chat. Hey, Rick. I promise I'll get you that thing. I'll get you that thing tomorrow. Hey, Rock. How are you? Hey, Gail. Yay, you can finally join. Yay, guys. Love it. All right, we're going to get started. Give it one more minute for people to get here. Get this all ready to go. I feel like I'm back on the cruise.
This is very cruise music.
I know. This is my chill lounge vibes. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. Alrighty. Let's get locked in. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. I know we could do this all night. This is what South Florida, people do. We like to have fun. But we will have fun tonight. You guys actually gonna have a great time because we have a really fun person in the virtual building. But welcome, 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 you guys. Happy Wednesday. So nice to have you guys here for our May monthly meeting. This is BPM RIA, Broward Palm Beach, Miami-Dade Real Estate Investors Association, your only local and approved chapter here in South Florida that is in compliance and partnered with the National Real Estate Investors Association. I'm Alexa, COO at BPM RIA, and I'm so happy to have you guys here tonight because we're going to talk about grassroots of property management. It's going to be, kind of a little techie talk, but trust me, Megan is going to keep it super digestible. And she is very passionate about what she does. She is the CEO at Smart Apartment Solutions and Smart Moves. And we actually got to meet at the National RIA Conference Cruise a couple months ago. It was a great time. She's really cool. And guys, I know that you know that we have a lot of awesome people here at the RIA. And that's why when Anish and I heard Megan, we were just over the top excited and pumped because we have a lot of the awesome people come to the RIA, and that's why we had to get her to come here. So just to get us started on a super fun note here, somebody in the virtual building is going to win a free membership. So go ahead and enter the membership. All you need to do is text the word membership to that phone number you see on the screen. It is 954-800-6961. I'll go ahead and put the details in the chat for you guys right now. So go check out the chat box for the details on how to enter the raffle tonight. So you guys, that's a $295 value, 1-year membership. So good luck, and I will announce the winner at the very end of the session tonight. So go, go, go. All right, upcoming events. We have a lot of great events on the calendar for you all. So please head on over to the website, bpmreia.com. Click that upcoming events button and check out all of the awesome events that we have. I have several pages of upcoming events for you guys, and I'm always working on adding more events to the calendar. So let us know if you have any specific requests, recommendations, send me an email. I want to hear back from you guys. get in touch with me on the side, and we would love to get that up on the calendar for you all. But tomorrow we have an awesome webinar with Josh Siegelbaum. We're going to talk about inside the mind of a strategic investor. Going to be a cool one. Of course, we're going to have a free raffle because we always want to make it fun. Next week, we have 2 free webinars. We're going to talk about the deal analysis workshop. If a property is a good deal in less than 5 minutes, or sorry, in 5 minutes. I don't know how he does it, but again, Anish and his marketing, it's catching my eye. So I'm about it and I'm excited and I will be there. So and the other webinar we have next week is with Next Million Mastermind, all about marketing, the most reliable way to grow a 7-figure business without burning yourself out. So please join us. That is going to be phenomenal. Anyone that needs to work on social media presence, marketing campaigns, text campaigns, all that good stuff, I'm sure he's going to talk about it and have live Q&A at that webinar. And oh, guys, it's coming up. Our 2-day quick start. It's coming up around the corner. It's not this weekend, but the following weekend. Going to be 2 full days with us online, cameras on, microphones on, virtual boot camp. It's going to kick your butt. I don't know why I have 7 to 8:30 there, but that's going to be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be a full day. So an all weekend long. And it's the most time you're going to get with our CEO, Anish Dave, consecutively. Just an amazing opportunity. Money back guarantee after the first day if you're not satisfied. And then we also have another great webinar the week following. I will be out that week, you guys. Don't kill me. But yeah, I'll be sure to let you all know in the upcoming weeks what I'm doing and what I'm up to. So all right, you guys, my favorite way to keep up with events. Some of you are already on the text update list, but if you are not and you want to get those text updates for our upcoming events, all you need to do is text BPM REIA, all one word, no spaces, to our event line, and you will get a convenient little text to your phone with a registration link, a reminder about the event that's going on that day, and it's just convenient. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Text BPM REIA to the number that you see on the screen, and I'm going to put those details in the chat for you guys as well. All right, BPM quick start, just a quick recap on the boot camp. We're going to discuss wholesaling, flipping, rehabbing, 2 full days via Zoom. We have member pricing and non-member pricing, $495 for members, $695 for non-members. Details in the link in the chat, where you can see the 4 guest speakers that we'll have on the training, all 4 CEOs, local business owners here in South Florida. We have Kevin Thatcher, the owner of Independence Title. We have Carl Shealy, our primary contractor. We have Francisco Mago, the owner and creator of ReaFax, the deal finder software that we all use to get 95% of our deals, literally, yeah. And then we also have Kevin Thatcher, the owner, no, I said Kevin, Carl, Francisco, and Anish. You guys know, go to the link in the chat. We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about creative financing. We're really going to get into it hardcore for 2 full days. So trust me, if you haven't done it, you must do it. Plus the money back guarantee after the first day. So go check out the link in the chat. If you guys are trickling on in, go. And you guys are going to absolutely love it. It's really, really good. So members, as you know, you get all the goodies. You get the membership package through National RIA, those discounts to Cama Plan, Rent Perfect, Millennial Insurance, huge discounts to Home Depot. So if you don't have your membership, I highly recommend getting that now. It's $295 per year for the individuals. And then we have our corporate memberships for you business owners that want to get featured on the website and all that good stuff. And of course, you're going to get in for free for our 4 quarterly networking meetings that we have per year. And you will save some dollars on some of the paid workshops that we do host. So go get your membership right now. You can get that right off the website. Last but very not least, one-on-one coaching and mentoring here at BPM RIA. Some of you may know that we offer one-on-one coaching and mentoring where you're matched with your own personal mentor, and we put up 100% of the money for our students' deals and split the profit 50-50. If you're interested in our coaching programs, please go to the website, book a discovery call with me. I want to get you the brochure in your hands so you can check out the full breakdown of everything we include in our 2 coaching programs, as long as the pricing details. And during this discovery call, I'll be more than happy to schedule this free consultation with you and a mentor so you can get into all the nitty-gritty questions and see if our program is a good fit for you guys. So I look forward to speaking with you. I put the link in the chat for you guys. And I do have this third-party funding. If you want to fund your education, invest in yourself, go ahead and feel free to utilize the third-party funding here on the screen. All you need is a minimum 620 credit score, $35,000 verifiable income. It will be a soft credit pull, and you will get the response within the same day, as long as you do this during business hours. So if you do this tonight, you will get response by tomorrow. So that is there for you guys. And I always, always, always want to take a moment to thank the National RIA. Thank you all so much for what you provide, the conferences, the leadership, everything. We want to take all of their resources and bring it back to you guys. That's our absolute goal as an organization. We always want to take a moment to thank the vendor partners on our website. You guys are always asking for amazing referrals and who do we recommend and all that good stuff. They are there on the website for you. Any discounts, like anything that we can give you, it'll be there. And also our vendors are so there for you guys as well. They are invested in helping you. They are real estate investor friendly. You guys know this. We wouldn't have them on there if they weren't, but they have so many incredible resources for you guys. But like I briefly, oh, housekeeping rules. Sorry, guys. Q&A box. We got a Q&A box. It's in the Zoom menu. Please, please, please enter your questions in the Q&A box. You guys, don't be surprised if Megan does a couple pulse checks. You may have to write something in the chat. So be ready. Put the sandwiches down. Get your drink, get your water refilled right now, because you are not going to want to miss anything that Megan is going to say tonight. Which is, I'm happy to say that we are recording tonight's session. So do not, don't freak out if you miss anything, but also we don't want to miss your questions. So if you do have to head out early, please be sure to put those questions in the Q&A section so that we can answer those live for you. Megan is so passionate about this stuff, you guys. And by this stuff, I mean executing her businesses to the highest level. And by that, I mean that she has created procedures and systems in her businesses that have allowed her, and she is now requested to speak all across the country. They're shipping her out to Vegas, like I swear every other month. She is all over the place, you guys, and they asked her to speak on the National RIA cruise for a reason. She has an incredible mother and team behind her, I know that, but she's just very inspiring. And even just in her personality, you guys will be able to see she's very passionate, and I just appreciate the time so much, Megan. So just in case, I'm not sure if you were messaging just me, Megan, but if you did want to message everyone, just make sure to switch the chat to
Cool.
everyone for any of your special links or anything you want to throw in there.
Yeah.
But don't worry, you guys, she will plug in. She will plug in. We will make sure she plugs in. I'll be sending you all, her contact and how to get in touch with her and get on her calendar. But I don't want to take any more time from Megan. Please, Megan, tell them like how you got in this position of like speaking with all of these amazing groups of people. And then then you can just like really just unleash the beast and just go in. I'm so excited.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to start sharing and getting that so I can focus on the screen. Hold the phone. But yes, thank you, Alexa. Your check's in the mail for all the nice things you just
Stop.
said.
I'm not kidding. Like,
Thank you.
Anish and I have seen a lot, and especially Anish, he's been the owner of the RIA for, I don't know, gosh, like 15 years now. So
Wow.
he's seen a lot of people, a lot of things, and he's really with the times. He's in multiple masterminds himself. He's always trying to elevate himself. And so when he notices something, I pay attention, and like I felt it too, because this is this is where I'm at in the business of BPM RIA. We're building our team. We use virtual assistants, we use AI, we use automation, we use remote team members, we use all the things. So whether I'm a property manager or not, whether, I do have a property, so I, technically fall into this category, but still like it almost trickles into everything that we do. So I just know that this is going to resonate with everyone on the call tonight. So I'm really excited, and I'm going to stop talking now.
Thank you. No, and I love that so much because that is so very near and dear to my heart, and I love, love, love that and I come from the National Apartment Association and the Institute of Real Estate Management. We refer to our part of the industry as the independent rental owners. And what that means is we're the ones out there doing and wearing multiple hats, investing in our communities, and really care about how they thrive and how they contribute back to it. And so it's very near and dear to my heart. And I love, love, love to hear that my independent rental owners, small property owners, investors are kicking butt in AI and automation, and they're really breaking down the barriers. And there's a lot of stereotypes sometimes on our part of the industry where they think we're kind of antiquated or that we're just chiseling stuff on stone, and that's not the case. In fact, I've found that a lot of our smaller property owners and investors are very flexible and very affluent in AI and automation because they've had to figure that out, and they're very price conscious, yes, but they're very smart and savvy. And I love that the larger operators have really started to adopt some practices that us smaller guys have been practicing for a long time. So if you look at trends in our industry like centralization, so running from a remote office or working out of one office or having maintenance professionals and contractors that specialize specifically in an area as opposed to a one size fits all maintenance. That is something that our side industry has been doing for a long, long time. And that's getting popular now on the larger properties. So I think they have a lot to learn from us. And I think wear your capes and stand proudly that you guys are tech savvy, and that coming even tonight and learning a little bit more about how you could maybe expand and grow your wings is going to pay off in the tenfold. So like Alexa said, thank you, Alexa. It was awesome. I love that cruise. Hopefully I get to come back. I'm hoping. But I got to meet some of the coolest and best people in our industry, the unsung heroes on the cruise. And I learned so much because I'm an investor myself, right? I have a day, I call it the day job, which is Smart Apartment Solutions. And then we have our management company, Smart Moves, that fills in all of the gaps and spaces. And I am not a fan of calling things as work-life balance. I don't think that really exists. I think especially in property management, you work when you have to, and you kick back when you can, and you appreciate those little 30-minute breaks, or those times that I can go and live the life that I want to live, or travel, or go to my nephew's soccer game, and I can do those things and still run my business too. And I think that really is going to be at the heart of this today. So to share on that, we're going to cover 6 areas. We've put some time aside that we will do some Q&A. So if questions come up, and feel free to put those in the chat, like Alexa said. Like she also said, this is recorded. So if there was something that you want to revisit, you can do that. And I have a link at the end that I'm going to share with you guys. If you guys can give me some quick feedback, I will share this entire slide deck with you, plus one of the do, delegate, delete exercises, and a whole bonus presentation on Outreach Marketing 101. And so you'll get all of that. So just relax, like this is a little bit of a workcation after dark, and kick back and take it all in. So I'm going to share with you our story and how we got to where we're at and what that all looks like. I'm going to talk about when I was pretty much on the brink and reached out and found virtual assistants and what those are and how those have assisted our business. I'm going to talk about AI and some differences between AI and automation and what might be appropriate for your business so that you can make those decisions as needed. And then I'm going to share a bunch of tools that are tools that I use on a daily basis that have really helped support my businesses, as well as the tools that my virtual assistants and we use to communicate and keep everything together. And then of course we'll do Q&A. So if anything you want to chat a little bit further on, just let me know. So our story. So even back before the our story, I'll share my story. And I actually started in this industry pretty young. My mother, as Alexa mentioned on the cruise, Dawn Ford is our broker and is a certified property manager with IROM. And she is probably one of the only people I've met. There's a few that actually went to college to be in real estate property management. So in the 70s, she went to Ferris State here in Michigan, and she became a paralegal, and then she did an emphasis in real estate property management. She moved to Oklahoma City. She became a property manager there in 1982. I was born, and by de facto, I've been in the industry since 1982, whether I liked it or not. Um, through high school, I didn't want to be in our industry because I didn't see a lot of opportunity yet. You know, I was kind of looking from the outside in. Then I went to the University of Michigan, and after I got out of started to get ready to graduate from college, I was going to be in advertising, and it turned out that that was not the path for me. And so I quickly backtracked and leaned on something that I had known my entire life, which was leasing and marketing and working in the apartment industry, and specifically working with owners that managed and developed tax credit communities. And that's actually where I cut my teeth. So at 16 years old, my mom used very inexpensive labor with me and put me on site, and I started cleaning apartments, and that worked up to leasing apartments at a brand new tax credit, low income housing tax credit property. And I have a very special place in my heart for the affordable housing industry as well. And I think again, there's a lot of bridge over with the independent rental owners where we can be that bridge or that answer to the affordable housing crisis. So another story. So I graduated in 2007, and I was placed as a leasing manager and a marketing director for a community here in Southeast Detroit. That's 1,145 units. Has a 9-hole golf course and a 15 boat slip marina. It's literally like a city. And lots of challenges right off the bat. So I took the job. They were roughly around 82% occupied. So roughly they had just over 200 vacancies all the time. There were vacancies they had not seen, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I fell in love. I was over head over heels. I knew at that point I would never look back to another industry. That property management, real estate, managing real estate and property management was my stick. But I also found this passion where people weren't really doing it that efficiently, or I felt like there were, we were kind of putting some barriers in place that didn't necessarily need to be. And that was holding people back from wanting to come into our industry, but also really people seeing themselves as an investor and how they could do this and maybe build their own empire. So in 2008, my adorable, beautiful broker mom, Dawn Ford, started Smart Apartment Solutions. In 2008, guys, you guys remember there was a housing crisis going on during that time, and Michigan was probably one of the worst economies. But she's like, let's start a business. And so she did. And we started going just one client at a time, helping them out, solving some of their challenges, their workflows, just really getting their efficiencies long before technology was really in place. We were really just working on systems. And we started doing that across the state of Michigan. We started moving into Ohio and Indiana and all of the wonderful things. And we really wanted to be a solution for our industry, big or small, but typically we work with more of the medium size. And so at Smart Apartment Solutions, our focus has always been to help the owners and the operators increase their occupancy, lower their frustrations. And we do this through, we don't even like the word temporary, but through staffing. So smart staffing, we staff maintenance people and leasing people and managers. About 86% of the time they get hired into a permanent position, and we do that all over again. So that's one portion of our business. Marketing and training, which is probably my biggest passion. I love education and showing people a way that they can love their job again and do really well at it. So in 2014, so if we didn't have enough to do, I had now come full time at Smart. We decided, kind of pushed on us. We had an owner that approached us and said, we want you to manage our portfolio. And we said, we don't manage right now. We just do service. And they said, well, we want you to do it. And we said, let's refer you. And then we found out that there weren't a lot of people in our market that was managing. They were managing small properties. And we're like, there's an opportunity here, right? And so we founded in 2014 Smart Moves LLC, otherwise known as Smart Apartment Moves. And that's where we said we would focus on small properties specifically. We were not going to compete with our Smart Apartment Solutions clients, which tended to typically be the larger apartment community style, but that's changed a little bit too. We really wanted to focus on single family homes, small properties, duplexes. My largest property right now is 10 units, and we have 21 units total that we manage in our portfolio. And that keeps me busy enough, honestly. But if I didn't have some of these systems in place, then I would really be pulling my hair out. And that's kind of why we're here today. So Smart Moves, enter Smart Moves 2014. Our management company was formed in 2014. And like probably many of you, and like many other small operators, we found ourselves overwhelmed by administrative tasks. And I can tell you, since the C word, I think we call it COVID, sorry to say that out loud, those administrative tasks have only seemed to grow and become more and more taxing. And that's on both sides of my business. Like, I did not sign up to be an HR director, right? I just want to manage properties. But all of that is coming at us at warp speed. And we had to find out of the box solutions that could help us scale without breaking the bank, because we weren't yet quite at the financial place where we could afford, full-time people and all of these cool bells and whistles, or so we thought. So we also found that by embracing technology, leaning into something that we may have been a little bit hesitant to, we didn't know much about, we could set ourselves apart from our competitors in our marketplace. And so specifically where we manage our portfolio, we manage in Owasso, Michigan. If you're familiar with the Midwest or the MIT, Owasso, Michigan is directly in the middle of Flint and Lansing. Like 21 miles both way, you hit Owasso. It's a very much a blue collar farm industrial town. And we found that a lot of the property owners and operators were antiquated. They were still taking cash. They were not really doing, they were doing like leases on napkins, handshake leases. But they didn't have technology. They were very difficult to work with, and they were not customer centric. And so when we came in, we're like, let's change this up. We're going to bring in technology. We're going to have a little bit higher rents, but we're going to show people that they can be self-sufficient and they don't really need us getting in the way. That was our goal. So here is a sample of our properties. Got our 521 Adams. I'd also like to call attention that all of the properties that we manage, except for the most recent one, which I'll show you, were built before the 1900s. Every single one of them. Even 755 Alger was like 1899-ish. So all old. No, no hot rooftop yoga, right? Nothing like that going on here. And so we had to really figure out a way we could set ourselves apart. We just recently took under management, our owner, one of our investors we manage for, took on a 10-unit like cottage village. We call it the Villages. This is actually the picture that just scrolled on the screen is one of the cottages. You may or may not be able to tell, but we used virtual staging with AI to stage the little bistro table and the welcome sign and the flowers. And so give you a little preview of what we'll talk about tonight, some ways that we've used some tools to help even with the marketing and all of the success there. So we had to get some things in place. We were managing through Google Sheets. I'm not here to throw shade at you, but that really wasn't necessarily putting ourselves out there for success, right? We knew that that was a short-term plan. And so one of the very first things we did was we went and found software. Coming from the larger operating side and growing up in property management software was something that I have always worked on. And so not having it was like, what do I do? How do I do this? So I needed that support and that software, and I had grown accustomed. And so I had some stereotypes. I thought, this software is expensive. It turns out it's not that expensive. What was challenging was finding software that was willing to work with our property size. Many of the property management softwares would say, let us know when you hit 100 units. And we were like, we want to have something in place before 100 units, because our goal when we hit 100 units is we'll be really busy. And I don't want to learn software and do implementation and all of the things that come with that. And so we worked really, really hard and found something that was appropriate for us. We went with Yardi Breeze. There's plenty out there, and I know you guys have suppliers and vendor partners with RIA that do property management software. So that's my first encouragement is don't think that you don't need it because you do. And you should definitely talk to the supplier that is your partner. For us specifically, we managed mixed use with single family with a mix of multifamily and also commercial space. And so by vetting that, Yardi Breeze became one of those one of our top choices. They were also one of the only ones that called us back at that time. So hey, we gave them our business and we have a great relationship with them as well. The other challenge we found out is I was carrying a bunch of stuff in my brain. And my mother was carrying a bunch of stuff in her brain. And that doesn't really help team members when you're trying to build your team. So we had to go through what was kind of uncomfortable at the beginning, but became more comfortable was streamlining our processes and writing SOPs. And if you don't know what an SOP stands for, that stands for Standard Operating Procedure. And that is really just a fancy way of saying, this is what we do and this is what happens next. And so, for example, you could write an SOP, I'm sure, because you're carrying it in your head, the processes that you go through between the 1st and the 10th of the month, right? Or a property manager goes through, right? We're collecting rent. We might be generating some notices. We're all of the posting it to a rent roll, running profit and losses, all of those steps, putting them in some kind of systematic order as a step is what happens next, what happens next. That is your standard operating procedure. So it doesn't need to be as hard. So once we got past like, this is hard, we have to do all this hard work, we then started writing standard operating procedures for all of our processes that we could think of, and then really fine tuning that. One of the tools that we use, and I'm going to share this a little bit later, is a process called do, delegate, delete. And especially if you're going to be adding virtual assistants, automation, anything like that, you're going to want to take advantage of a do, delegate, delete process as well as writing your standard operating procedures. Because I'm here to tell you that if you want to implement any of those things or work with a consultant, they're going to make you do it. So might as well just do it now so that if and when you need a consultant or if and when you decide to add a virtual assistant or automation or AI, you have done a most of the legwork. So what do delegate delete looks like, and I'll show you a picture of that soon, is essentially where I list all of my tasks, all my do's, right? Then I will then talk about that if is it something that I have to do. So like tonight, Megan, Smart Chick Megan, is doing the webinar, right? That isn't something that I can delegate to Alicia or Lisette. That's something that Megan can only do. So that is a do for Megan. But posting rent is not necessarily a do for Megan. I know how to do it, but I could delegate that to Lisette. And even better, maybe I could delete it because maybe I could delete it by having automation do it or an AI bot do it. Or maybe it's just an extra step that no one really needs to do and we can just delete it. It's just an unnecessary boundary. We found a lot as we did the do, delegate, delete process, and still something that we do when we start to feel stuck. We'll go into this process. We often found that we had barriers that were put in place that we thought would make things easier, and they hadn't. They were not making things easier for our customer. They certainly weren't making things easier for us. In some processes, we found we're only making things easy for one team member, and it's like, well, let's talk about that. I get it. I want accounting to have a good time and to be on the same page, but we can't, make things super duper hard just because, well, that's the way they want to receive the information. Not to throw shade at accounting, guys, but we really do need to have to look at our businesses and go, are we easy to do business with? And if we're not, or if we see these barriers that make it kind of hard to do business, then we should talk about that. And is it really necessary to have that barrier there? Maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. So once we got through, we got ourselves right, we got our stuff in a group, we then started to identify technology that we needed on a budget, right? At this point, it was 2019. And so a good portion of our customer base was demanding online applications, right? And not online, like go and find this PDF link on my website and then print it. because that's not an online application, but like full boat, you put in your information, you put in your credit card information, you hit submit, and that automatically goes to a screening company. And then the screening company tells me when it's done. So, like, again, removing the human, delegating or deleting the task completely off of my plate and even my virtual assistant's plate. Bluetooth locks, which I'll share, we've added a lot of different ones, but going through, with our property management and being remote, being centralized, the properties that I manage are about 45 minutes from my home, and they're about an hour and a half from where I work mostly in the Ann Arbor area, depending on where I'm at. And I quickly found out that trying to schedule tours around my busy schedule was not easy for my customer, right? We were not easy to do business with. And so we really started to look at that process specifically and say, do we really need to do tours? I mean, I understand why we typically want someone there, right? To protect the property, make sure people aren't doing naughty, bad things in our property. I get that. But there are technologies you can put in place, camera systems, Bluetooth locks, pre-screening so that you could do a pre-screen before you even gave access to a unit. And so we really started to ask those questions and ask those of ourselves and deciding, is this something that is like we can find a workaround, or is it something we couldn't work around? And we found in the comfortability with our management company and what we could put in place and with our owners that we were losing a lot of income trying to schedule appointments, and that it was just easier to give that control back to the actual prospect. And so we found Igloo locks, Igloo home locks, which are Bluetooth locks. And if you're not familiar with why I love Bluetooth locks, essentially I have this padlock or a fixed lock with the key in it. I vet the applicant, I vet the contractor, whomever, and I'm able to dispatch a code to them, and then they can get into the box. But it's only during a certain period of time. So maybe it's only good for a half hour. And I get notified when they're accessing the box. I get notified when they put the key back in. I have a log, so I also know if contractors are going in and out. I can issue special codes to my owners and my cleaners and everybody else. And I don't have to be there to let them in. So I removed the bottleneck, my Megan, and then I was able to move forward with that. That was a huge game changer for us. That definitely helped. That then led us to self-guided tours, which I'll share with some of the things we've done there. Contactless move-ins, which started pretty much in COVID, but then it's something that we've adopted and kept because it just worked better. And then, of course, AI automation and chatbots. And then identifying out of the box staffing solutions. So we actually worked with a company called Sarah Wild Co., and she is a virtual assistant matchmaker, and it's a free service. And there are lots of virtual assistant places out there, and there are a lot of really good ones. There's also some bad ones. So I would say definitely spend your time asking, getting references. So I know Alexa and Anish had mentioned that they are using virtual assistants, and there's some other members too. So chat with them, see what they like or what they don't like. If it isn't necessarily a fit, maybe you consider Sarah Wild. I get no affiliate kickback from her. I don't even think she knows who I am. I just really like her product, and I really like that ability to be able to spend some time with my SOPs and then say, this is really the task that I'm looking to have addressed. And then I was able to interview. I actually had 12 virtual assistants that applied during my one round. And so I had quite a few to choose from, and it was hard. At one point, I wanted to hire 5, and I had to back it up and rein it in because I'm like, I don't know that I could give them all tasks, but they were just so awesome. And I just could see my business growing with such a cool team. But what I loved about virtual assistants and still love it to this day, I have 2, but Alicia, she works roughly about 40 hours a month, and I pay her roughly about $460 a month for her bill time, and she is super efficient. Lisette's around the same amount. For my staffing business, I have April, who's another virtual assistant, and she helps with our temporary staff and getting them onboarded and going through the HR processes. Just so many ways that we can use this talent. And both of my virtual assistants, they worked in corporate jobs, and then after COVID, they just decided I don't want to go back, so I'm going to work from home and support other businesses, and it's awesome. So we also continue to experiment. We continuously test our processes and repeat the do, delegate, delete exercise. So again, that's not something that we just did one time at the beginning. It's something that we still do to this day. All right. So there are my virtual assistants, or at least the ones that work in Smart Moves. Um, Alicia and Lisette also work with Smart Apartment Solutions. So I have them in both businesses, but specifically these two help us on our property management company with Smart Moves. And we started working with them in 2023. So we limped along through COVID for a few years, and then we discovered I was on a Clubhouse app. If you guys are familiar with the audio only drop-in app, started hearing people talk about virtual assistants. I'm like, what is this magic that you're talking about? And they gave me more information, and I just kept pulling that thread. And so in 2023, that was my discovery. And I went to Dawn and I said, hey, I think we found a solution to help us with staffing, and this is something that's affordable and obtainable for our business. And she's like, what kind of voodoo magic are you talking about? And I said, let's give it a try, Dawn. And we did. And now she's a huge fan. She loves to delegate stuff because she's a delegate master, but we love them. So in 2023, we decided it was time to expand our bench strength and try something that is common practice in other industries, especially in the technology or in our property technology sector of our business. I actually interviewed 5 VAs in this round and that responded to my listing, and I hired Alicia and Lisette for around $600 a month total. So for both of them, that starting, I had around a $500 budget. I went over because I loved them. So we bumped that to 6, but 600 bucks, right? And I had like 60 hours that I got to fill and take off my plate. So to date, we have delegated 30 plus hours of administrative work just to these two. In my other Smart Apartment Solutions, or total, we have actually peeled off about 90 hours a month off of our plates that we've peeled onto virtual assistants at a fraction of the cost that it would cost for me, and even in time. As I was sharing with Alexa previously, before we jumped on the call, they're also more efficient than I am at a lot of these tasks because they do it more frequently. They have access to a lot more tools and VA support groups. And so it's not always about what you know, it's about who you know and what they know. So huge, huge fan. I cannot wait to grow my team a little bit more, but everything I give them, they just absorb it with a smile. And I don't have HR issues now. I don't have people calling in sick, bringing their drama to work. None of that. It's just like they manage their life and I manage mine, and we keep it moving. Hallelujah. So what do they do? So processing invoices is a big one. Lisette is probably my lead in Smart Moves, and she does a lot of the first through the 10th of the month, but she processes invoices that we get from our suppliers. So I had an electrician, a roofer, and a general contractor out on site today. They're sending me invoices right now. They go automatically to Lisette. She processes them through our property management software so that they show up on our profit and loss, and that I can just go and approve them and then get the rest of it going. They also send out our demand for possession. So here in Michigan, we use a 7-day demand for possession. So clock is ticking. Today's the day. I'm not doing that, you guys. Lisette is preparing those. She's generating those. Here in Michigan, we can send them out electronically. So she is taking care of that task today. She posted late fees. She did all of the things. I have, oversight, obviously. I don't just let business run wild, but I don't have to do all of the button pushing and the combing. Like I have a good set of eyes, a consistent eyes that's paying attention to that. She also helps me process applications. So in addition to what we've got going on in the first of the month, we are actively leasing 3 of our units. And so we are scheduling tours, we're taking applications. And so she's sending the links, she's collecting the information. She's usually the first set of eyes, and then I look at that and then I give it to my broker. So we've got 3 eyes that look at it, but she's able to really keep those things moving so that I don't have to be stuck holding up the process. She types our leases. She sends them out through our electronic signature processing. She even does renewals, which she's, again, working on right now. And sodas, that is not a Coca-Cola. Here in Michigan, we call them sodas, and that's the security of deposit accounting. So she even helps me when people move out. So collecting all those receipts and those bids, looking at their ledger, getting all of the items together, even to send off to collections. That's Lisette. She sets up their scheduled charges, all the things. She even sits on chat for me. When I don't have time to sit on Yardy chat because I probably messed something up, she does it. She sits on chat with them and fixes what I mess up. And so she's magic. She runs my reports. She's amazing. And she's super nice. Huge, huge fan. So we've started with 2. We now have 4. We've delegated over 70 hours. I actually need to update that because I've given 20 more hours there. We're at 90. And our customers have been happier because we're getting things done quicker. I am less tired and sassy, right? So they're not being met with a negative Megan. I'm actually happier again. So if they're happy, I'm happy. I'm happy when they're happy. So because I am not worried about all of these things that were keeping me up at night, and I felt like I was being buried alive. That's literally how I felt. And having the virtual assistants and having some of these processes in place made me see the light on the end of the tunnel, that like this can be done. We can do this, everybody. And here's how. So do delegate, delete. So write down your current tasks and responsibilities, both personal and professional. Because like I said, I do not believe there is anything really like work-life balance. It mixes all together. So you got to have your goals and your big rocks together, right? Personal and professional, and they got to go into the jar of life together. There's right, if you're following me. So in the task column, I write the tasks, process applications, order office supplies, walk a unit, whatever the things are. And I put them in there. For each task, determined whether it's something that I should do. So again, I do the webinars, I do the training. That's a Megan. The do. Maybe it's something that I can check and say, I think this is something we could delegate. Maybe not today, but it has delegation potential, right? Or it has delete potential. Like this is something that we're doing that is so out of date that I don't know why we're doing it, but we're doing it maybe out of comfortability, but it may be even something that we're going to highly prioritize to peel off of our list so we can have something of a higher value fill that in. And we also will do it based on the importance and urgency, right? Sometimes things are maybe not as tasking or as high value, but they're urgent. And so sometimes I need to do that, or we need to figure out a workaround on how to get it done quickly as well. Place a check mark or X in the appropriate column for each task, and reflect on your task categorization and consider any adjustments needed to optimize your productivity. So again, I will share this with you at the end. You have a QR code here if you forget, but I will share that at the end as well so that you have actually this document. So you could do this tonight. You could do your do delegate delete and start looking at your schedule and your plate load even tonight and start peeling some of that off. So I would love to see your little chat fingers in the chat. If you could just let me know, are you using any kind of AI technology? Just put that in the chat, yes or no. I want to see how comfortable we are with this. Yes, Alexa. And yes, to the person that said, are you paying around $10 an hour? I'm actually, for my VAs, I'm actually paying about $30 an hour. So I think I did the math. Don't make me do math in public, guys. That's what I have my broker for. So I did misspeak. So they were started at 10 hours a month at $30 an hour. But that's even more exciting because they were able to get more things done in less time. Because when I first saw like 10 hours, I'm like, what are you gonna get done in 10 hours? A lot. Okay, I got some no's, but there's a lot of yeses. Well, if you're nervous about it, I get it. There has been a lot of news coverage and conversations about some of the scary stuff. Even in the rental property management industry, specifically on the larger operator side, we've even seen where some folks have gotten in trouble with AI. Some in cases where they were helping it with them screening applications and it made some fair housing issues. We even saw there's still pending lawsuits right now with revenue management software and AI algorithms that were determining rent increases and things like that. So I get that there is some hesitation there, but I would say that the reward definitely outweighs the risk. So in 2023, like many people, we were completely enamored with ChatGPT, like head over heels. Our head spun for a solid month in February when it dropped. We were asking it the most ridiculous questions, like just you go back to my chat history, you'd be, this is embarrassing, Megan. This is literally embarrassing. What were you doing? But we were learning it. We were learning what this new found dangled technology was. And we created social media posts with it. We wrote blogs. We even had ChatGPT create a 30-day meal plan with a shopping list, gluten free, for a picky person. Because that's who I live with, is a gluten free picky person. And so we needed a shopping list, and I needed it to be done for, I had to be under 30 minutes because I don't have a lot of time. Time is value. And it did it. It did it in like a matter of a couple of seconds. It popped out this 30-day menu. I think it offered cauliflower in one, and I was like, can you switch cauliflower with a different vegetable? And it did. And then it gave me a shopping list. It gave me instructions on how to cook it. And I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. But how can we use this for our business? I also found out that I had some things that I didn't love about ChatGPT and some of the AI technology, because like most loving relationships, there is a give and a take. And in the case of third generation generative AI, which is what we're living in right now, right? This is a love affair with a sleepy partner with amnesia. So if you have seen the movie 50, 50 First Dates, little bit of context. Adam Sandler falls in love with this beautiful woman, Drew Barrymore, but he finds out very quickly on that she had trauma, and she literally forgets what happened each day. So each day he has to teach her who he is, where their relationship is at, etc. That is very much how it was in the early days of generative AI. And so if we were really concerned about it taking over the world, quickly was not, because you had to ask it like these very simplistic questions, and you had to give it so much detail and guidance, because it would literally fall asleep, and it was like it would forget who you were, what you had asked it to do, and so you'd have to give a lot of step-by-step clarification. The more I learned about the differences in AI and the differences in automation and the differences in chatbots, the better communicator I became with AI. And then I began to start yielding better responses from chat that weren't so silly or out there, that actually were viable for our business. And I also found that, after ChatGPT, that you shouldn't always put your eggs in one basket. So ChatGPT and I are back on. So I stopped dating with ChatGPT for a while. I dated with Pi, Claude, Genesis, um, lots of other ones that were good. Loved Claude for a long time, especially when I was writing resident letters or emails. It had very much, a polished writing that didn't feel as AI. That was a big complaint as we started to learn more AI, is that then everybody's post kind of sounded the same, or their context sounded the same, and you could start to tell that was generated not by a human, but that was probably generated by ChatGPT. And so I liked Claude and I liked Pi for those reasons. Alexa loves Claude, and I still use them. But ChatGPT dropped image generation a couple of weeks ago, and like I am back in an exclusive relationship with ChatGPT right now. But I'm not talking marriage. I'm not talking marriage, guys. So keep your options open, but also understand that these tools change so quick. I actually was just reading about a tool called Max AI, which actually is one subscription, and it subscribes to many, and then it uses the different kinds of generative AI as like different personas. So you could use Claude to help you generate more long form text, or Pi for that. But then you could use ChatGPT to help you with more of the technical things. So there are tools out there, and there are solutions, and people are coming out with better solutions each day. So don't put all your eggs in one basket is the moral of that story. So what is AI? AI stands for artificial intelligence. It refers to the development of computer systems and software that can perform tasks traditionally requiring that we used to require human intelligence to do, and cognition. The AI systems are designed to learn from data, recognizing patterns and make decisions or predictions without being explicitly programmed to do so. Key capabilities of AI include natural language processing, so like ChatGPT or Claude or Pi, even computer vision, predictive analytics, which is also a huge win. Looking and being able to compile long text or long data and give you a good summary. I've even had it help me with, we do mystery shops for some of our clients. And quick example, we had over 21 shops to do for one of our clients, and we did them. And so compiling all of those shop reports, I actually used ChatGPT to help me write an executive summary to help compile all of those 21 shops with details that it felt that was pertinent, and it did really good. It did a really good job. I still tweaked that and made it with our tone, but it did hours of work in a matter of a couple of minutes. And so just even being able to, summarize something or summarize a book or summarize a management plan, it's very, very, very useful. So chatbots, though, are not AI. And I've heard a lot of people online talk and think that these two are the same. A chatbot can be powered by AI, but typically in their own form, or you're seeing them on a website, usually they are not. They are a standalone piece and they are not powered by AI. So chatbots actually rely on pattern matching and predetermined scripts to respond to users' input rather than learning and adapting on their own. So when you're usually working with a chatbot, it's going to offer you a series of questions, and then it's going to try to funnel you down to help you with that answer. So again, in our industry, if we have them on our, our apartment website, it may say, are you looking for an apartment? That's a pretty broad question. Yes or no, right? If the answer is no, maybe it then determines it's a resident or it's a supplier, right? Or if it says they say yes, then it's going to ask a series of questions based on that predetermined matchmaking. So think about that. It's never going to think on its own without AI. It's not going to be able to answer complex questions. So if people do not respond or pick or select those specific questions, it's not going to know where to go. It's not going to fix itself if it breaks, like AI could do. So it doesn't have those capabilities. Chatbots are also limited contextually in understanding that they cannot engage in free form. They're never going to be open-ended dialogue like a human would be. Chatbots also lack the ability to learn from interactions and improve their own response over time. They have to be trained specifically by you. And that really is the training, is you learning what's the best funnel questions to get the yield the best results and not confuse my customers. And so some of the hesitation with chatbots have been that training process or that setup process can be a little bit cumbersome, where with AI, it learns very quickly. So chatbots lack the ability to learn from interactions, improve their own response over time. I said that. And chatbots are designed for specific narrow tasks, while AI systems can tackle a wide range or complex, unstructured problems. Some things we may not even have answers for yet. Another one that I will hear online where people will say automation is AI. It's not. Again, automation like a chatbot can be powered by AI, but automation is a chain reaction. So automation is focused on improving efficiencies and reducing manual effort, typically by following pre-programmed rules and instructions. So if this happens, then that happens, right? This is exactly what we write SOPs for, because the more detailed and step-by-step our standard operating procedures are, our SOPs, then the quicker and more efficiently we could automate it without issue. And again, with our company at Smart Apartment Solutions, we decided to automate our temporary staffing application process. Originally, it was about 15 minutes to complete online. Turns out people that are looking for temporary positions don't want to spend 15 minutes or longer filling out an application. And so our goal was to get that down to 2 minutes. We took it from 15 minutes to 8 minutes down to 2. It took us 2 years to get it there. And we did that through automation and by writing those standard operating procedures. And one of the most painful parts about writing those standard operating procedures, because we rewrote them about 8 times, is we eliminated a ton of tasks, a lot of inconsistencies that just were confusing and unnecessary. So we eliminated our steps in the touch points with our customer, down from 15 touch points down to 8, down to 5. And so really there are only 5 steps that a customer needs to do to get the application process started. Now they may go through a little bit longer of a cycle, but the initial collection of them through the automation is much shorter. So what do you use to write SOPs? Any AI? Yes, Christy, I would absolutely use AI to help me with writing an SOP. And especially if you could do it on your phone. So I'm a big fan of turning the microphone on. I'll open the Chat GPT app and I will speak. I will say, I need you to write me a standard operating procedure on blah. And then I talk through the processes. And then I hit the little arrow and there it goes. It creates SOPs. And then you can then tweak them. You can ask it to tweak them. You can give it more context, all with AI. It's going to make it so much quicker, a lot less painful. Now, I was doing mine in 2021 and 2022. So this was before, AI was really on the market. And so I had to do it the hard way. And so I'm telling you, yes, do it the easier, the smarter way. Do it the smart way. Yeah. So think automation is a great tool. And if you are not ready for AI, if it scares you too much, then consider chatbots and AI, right? Or automation, I'm sorry. Because automation is going to get you a long way there. And we use a ton more automation in our business than we use AI because it's just, it, it's more valuable. And that's really where we're able to delete some of those tasks that a human isn't doing. We've automated those tasks. So it didn't really go away, maybe, um, but we don't have to do it as a human and it just keeps moving it along like I need to do. All right. So here is a screenshot actually of Claude. But I want to show you a simple prompt that I do and one of the many examples where this has just been a huge game changer for me. So we were in the process of taking over a property and I only have 29 minutes left. So we were taking over a property. In the past, I had managed properties. We had all of the letters we would send out on our desktop. And one of them is like, hey, we're taking over this property. Your security deposit is held in this bank account. We're going to move it to that bank account. And you have to send this out typically 30 days, yada, yada. I knew the letter in my head. I've seen it 100 times. But with my new management company, we did not have this specific said letter. And so, like usual, we were working, you know, under the gun. And so I went to Claude at that time and I gave it this prompt. I said, please write a letter to residents at really their address. In this town, with this information, Smart Moves is taking over management effective this date of the property, and the security deposits are currently held at Cha-Ching. We're going to be moving that to Bling Bling and other contact information. And then I hit go. And it took me longer to type it out and proofread it, which I even also didn't need to do. Then I hit the arrow. And within a couple of seconds, I had a form letter that I could copy and paste, update, put a little bit of information in, and it was actually better than something I could write. So it is my co-pilot. I look at AI as my co-pilot. It checks my grammar, it checks my spelling, helps me with difficult emails, it helps me when I'm tired, it helps when I'm in the middle of something else, and it helps just keep things moving. So I'm a huge, huge fan, and that's just one of the examples that I used it for. So the pros. It falls in line with our do delegate delete process and has saved us a ton of time on doing repetitive tasks as well as even market research, right? Powerful capabilities minimizing fraud, detecting identity theft, detecting leaks. The list goes on and on. So we now use AI technology in our screening process to help with fraud, right? We use a service that our applicant gives permission, but it actually combs their bank account for up to 24 months and then looks at the income that they've brought in. It also looks at the time that they've paid their rent. It looks at the time they've paid their utilities. It just gives you more information than a credit screening is ever going to give you and an employment verification is ever going to give you. So for example, one of our residents is a manager at Starbucks, great. She also sells on Etsy. And how would I have counted that Etsy income before? Well, now with this technology, it was able to aggregate and show that even if she changed jobs, she earned enough income with her sales and her manager position to meet our rent qualifications. And so, again, removing me out of the system and getting out of the way so that technology can take that place. Huge, huge fan of that. Some of the cons, though, there's always a con, is we don't know that much about it yet and the impact long term. This is still newer to our industry. And so we've heard several news stories and lawsuits that have popped up over the last couple of years in regards to discrimination in screening practices, as well as even rent price algorithms. And so it is still something that you should be optimistically cautious about. Don't go all in blindly, but don't be totally afraid that you're not willing to use the tool to help support you and be successful. So quick story. We used to use a company called virtualstaging.ai. It is a great company, huge fan. I think we paid $12 a month. We got to stage up to 6 photos a month. Worked pretty good. This picture up here that you'll see, we had 521 Adams is a 5-unit apartment community, apartment building. And 3 of the 5 units are efficiency style. And they're great efficiencies. They actually have separate kitchens and a separate room that you could use for your living room, bedroom, what have you. But people looking at the pictures online or touring in the self-guided tours, even in-person tours, really struggled with seeing how their furniture would fit. And so we actually went 6 weeks in vacancy, which was not fun. And the owner's like, "What the heck is going on, Megan? I thought you were the leasing queen." I know. So I discovered this virtualstaging.ai. I staged the unit in, a couple of different ways. Even did the kitchen, which didn't necessarily need to be done, but just added a little zhuzh. It helped. This property leased within a week after we put these pictures live. 6 weeks vacant, just trying to do old school, doing my video, my winning personality. But once I did virtual staging, people were like, "Oh, her personality is okay, but that apartment is cute." And they wanted to see it. We have gone full ham now. So now we use ChatGPT. I now have a paid subscription with Chat. It is amazing. With our new property that we just took on, we had some immediate vacancies. Guys, the rents on these 1-bedroom cottages were about $410 a month is what we inherited. We had a couple of vacancies. We turned them. We did not do a lot of upgrades. We cleaned them. We painted them. We did the nice stuff. We staged them. We put those pictures live. We listed them at $750 a month. And within 3 hours, I had 15 appointments scheduled for self-guided tour. By the very next day, I had 3 pending applications. I'm telling you, the AI staging has been a game changer, and actually being able to stage the exterior, the interior, letting people know what it looks like with furniture and how they could really make this place a home has been huge. And the feedback on the tours and the online communities has been amazing. So give it a try. Automation. So our journey. Oh, so our journey, as I shared a little bit with you, actually started with a photo booth. So way back in the day, and I say way back in the day, but in 2014, I was at a conference, and one of the giveaways we wanted to do was we wanted to give pictures. We wanted to have a photo booth, but I wasn't going to climb in the photo booth with each person and like save it to a camera roll and then email it. Like that would have been weird and awkward. And so at that time, I found this website called If This Then That. And people had written recipes. And so I found this recipe, and it said, when a photo is saved to this camera roll on this iPad device, put this message with it and upload it to this Facebook page, this photo with this message. And so we were able to then push people to go to our Facebook page. As soon as that picture was saved to the camera roll, as someone took it in the photo booth, it posted it with that message to our Facebook page. Then people had to go like our Facebook page, and then they could go download their photo. Win, win, win. And so once we saw that, we were like, this is something we need to be getting more and more involved with. We have it now with Trello that it actually creates reminders. It puts things on our Trello board. It moves things from process to process. So even moving invoices. So there was a time I was a huge bottleneck. A lot of our contractors pay us through PayPal, and that did not make my accountant very happy, right? And so I was sitting on all of these receipts that were coming to my email from PayPal. It was hard for Lisette to get them because I hadn't turned over email to her yet. And so we actually went to Zapier.com, and there was a Zap that was already there that said, when this PayPal receipt hits this Gmail, email box, put it in this folder that's labeled stuff to upload. And Lisette monitors stuff to upload and puts those things where they need to go. Whatever random piece of paper or whatever it is, she then monitors that drive, that Google Drive, that folder, and then goes and puts the pieces where they need to go. So invoices, bills, payments, receipts, letters from the city, whatever it is, all the things, love letters from my residents. She gets it in the stuff to upload and then goes and puts it where it needs to go. I don't need to be holding things up anymore. So, what did we learn? So standard operating procedures, it sounds a lot harder than it really is. Just get granular. Have ChatGPT or your AI of choice help you, your co-pilot, write those SOPs. Think of every step in the process you do over and over and write it down. And don't generalize. Don't leave out small details. You might think I don't need to tell that detail. You do. You do. Because as someone that's coming behind you that has not done this over and over and over, that small detail will be a big detail. So as small and minute as you think it is, write it down. It has a place. It definitely does. Then workflows. So once you have your SOPs, that's going to then become your workflow. It's another fancy way for a standard operating procedure. And this is where we actually realized that we had unnecessary repetitive tasks that definitely did not support our goal of being easier to do business with. So again, with the temporary staffing plan, we had the SOPs and then we're writing them with workflows. We did the little bubble. So, accept application is the first bubble and then a line. What do? Well, we run the application, right? What do we collect? All of those steps. Well, that's where we discovered maybe step 6, 7, and 8 are unnecessary, or maybe we could retweak 4 and 5, or 3 or whatever, and we could really make this process easier. And we keep working at those workflows. That job is like never done, to keep asking those crucial questions. Are we easy to do business with? Can this be better? Can this be more efficient? Can this be more customer centric? And we also learned patience. So when we did our first automation project, I literally thought the process would take about 60 days and that we would plug it in, flip a switch, and then I could just set and forget. That was wrong. So if that is the delusional bubble that you are living in, let me burst that for you, because it's not. It was a lot of work. The process took about 2 years, and we had to do a lot of back and forth, a lot of training on us, training on the automation. And it wasn't done once it was live. Once it was live, it was like, okay, now let's see where things can break, or let's try to break it so that we can fix it. And then also learning what our customers were learning, and they were figuring out things that we had never anticipated before. And so that process even is still continuing to this day. So help manage your expectations, practice patience. You're going to get frustrated, but that's okay. But don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, as my mom likes to use that term. Maybe just come back to it tomorrow, or maybe I can take a smaller bite, and maybe I'm biting off more than I should. Maybe automating the entire staffing department is too big of a task. Just focusing on this one task is where I should start. Getting off my soapbox. Okay, so automation. We said we used it for PayPal receipts to go to a Google folder, basic data entry, creating task reminders, recording rent payments, granting access to residents and guests, work order follow-up after we close it out. So as soon as we hit close out in Yardi, it emails or texts our residents saying, hey, we just closed out this work order. Are you happy with the service that we provided? Right? Customer service is the name of the game, but I don't have time to do the personal follow-ups all the time. And so having that support is great. We've had it used for recruitment and helping in that process when we're maybe filling an open position, and even autoresponders for leasing inquiries. So we do a lot of leasing on Facebook Marketplace. And so having automation and those kinds of plans have also helped keep that from getting too overwhelming. So some other smart tools. We've embraced some smart tools that have made our lives so much easier, from apps that help us work seamlessly with our virtual assistants to platforms that simplify the things for our valued customers. And these smart solutions have definitely been game changers. By taking those tedious, time-consuming tasks off of our plate, We've not only saved time and money, but also gained the ability to compete with the big guys in our industry. We may be small, but we are mighty, for sure. So some tools we use. I actually just switched from a text magic to text box. Huge fan, very inexpensive. Love text box. So I actually can text my staff, my residents. I can see what my staff members and my team members, my virtual assistants are saying. Like, we're all in this group message, but it's not overwhelming like that. I can schedule messages. I can add video. I can add photos. It has a smartphone app, so I can keep this conversation going either on desktop or on the app, and I love it. I love it. It has been a huge game changer in keeping communication going, and our customers respond about 90% of the time with text message. And so it has, good question, Christy. It has a place where you can add contact. So one of the more tedious parts is we had to go, not we, my virtual assistants had to go and actually enter in our resident contacts, and they would create these subgroups or lists for each properties. So we can even text property wide. We can just text specific residents by searching their name. It's very searchable. We can search them by their name, by their phone number, or even the building code and address that we have put to identify. So it's very, very user friendly. Huge fan. Our project management dashboard is Trello. So if you guys haven't heard of Trello, I'm a huge fan. Love Trello also because it works outside of an internet connection, and as soon as you get back in, it will update. They have a smartphone app as well as a desktop version, and it is just great at organizing all things like documents, passwords, links to this dashboard, standard operating procedures, videos to show you how to do the standard operating procedures, all of that. So we've also been using chat, like I said, for resident letters, tough emails. I have some residents that sometimes can be stinkers, and I got to keep it moving. I can't let emotion get in there. So I may put a nice response or maybe even a not nice response in chat and have them make it nice and professional. And I got to say what I needed to say, but they didn't have to see it, right? All of that. And then Zapier. Zapier creates those chain reactions and automation. Huge fan of that. There is a paid subscription to that, but they have some free versions so if you wanted to give it a try. And then Google Drive. Google Drive is like our digital filing cabinet. That's the hub. So everything that's linked on Trello is going to link to Google Drive to some kind of folder or drive or situation. That's where we store everything. Trello is like the faceplate dashboard to that. Okay, hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. All right, so what does it look like real quick? This is what our filing cabinets look like. Yes, you will receive a copy of this recording, and I'll do you better. I'll even give you the slides afterwards. So this is what our Google Drive looks like. As you can see, accounting, staffing, documents, moves, virtual assistants, mechanical. Those are our drives, our main filing cabinets. And then if you were to click in there a little bit further, then you would see how that breaks down by property, taxes, all that jazz. Very clean, very organized, very beautiful, and easy to search and find. If you were to go over to Trello, we actually set up specific boards. So that's what you're going to see here on the computer screen. Those are all boards which you can click into, and each board is going to have a variety of cards. So what you see here on the right-hand side is a card, and that has the drop downs, and that's where, like, payroll timeline. So this is an SOP on how we do our payroll, right? If you were to click on that card, it would open that up and it would have the step-by-step. On the further right, the green part, the smart moves, you could click on property management functions, the 1st to the 10th, and you would see what our SOP looks like, which is here. So you can see it's saved with my everybody who gets to watch it. It has all these labels and cool things I can do. It's connected to Google Drive, but you can see quite literally, it's got on the screen, it shows the first 5 steps, and it has hyperlinks. So those actually hyperlink right to the Google Sheet, the rent roll, all of that. I then have a video that shows how to do these steps that is also linked to this card. So if I disappeared for months, things can still keep going. If Lisette leaves, I have a training manual right here on Trello ready to go for her replacement if we did have to part ways. Hopefully I don't have to, but I don't have to recreate that wheel with training her. So hopefully that blew your mind a little bit. So some tools that we're using right now for a tour booking site, because we do self-guided tours, we actually went to squarebooking.com. We found a hair salon. We duplicated that website. We changed their services. So from a shampoo, we changed that maybe to a 1-bedroom apartment tour, and we made that 30 minutes. And then we have, instead of a blowout, is like a 2-bedroom tour. And so we have this front facing screen where people can go and select what's available. We have toggles to turn it off and on, and then they can select the unit that they want to tour, and then a already pre-designated time slots that they can check with that we have put in our front facing calendar. And then when they select a time they want to tour, I get a text message and an email that someone is interested. And then we do this vetting process where we actually just added Western Verify for $5. They will actually, we'll send them a link. They will upload their driver's license. They'll take a selfie. It will do biometric to make sure the same person is giving me the right information. And if they pass that pre-screening, then we set them up for a tour. We dispatch them a code through Igloo Home, and they're able to go tour the unit. Now, I'm still there, or my virtual assistant is still available to either do a FaceTime with them or to be in chat with them. We're still available while they're touring. We just may not physically be there. We use a lot of QR codes inside the unit so they can scan to apply, they can scan and watch videos, they can scan and see some of the virtually staged, all of that. So it's very, very interactive. Big fan of that. We're also using Loom. So Loom is a screen recording program so when I'm creating those standard operating procedures or how I enter rent into the Yardi system, I record those processes through Loom, which does a transcript. It gives me a shareable link that I can put on our Trello board. But then Lisette or Alicia can actually go watch those Loom videos whenever they want and actually see how I did the steps. It's been a game changer. Loom has eliminated so many meetings, so much frustration, and sometimes you just need to be able to see the steps instead of just reading the instructions. So big fan of that. We use Small PDF as our lease signing document software. It's very, very cheap. I think we pay $13 a month, and we use unlimited signing. It has document compression, things like that. So we needed a workaround so that we could, send not our applications, but our leases and things, our renewals, so that we could collect that electronic signature, and that's been a great one for us. And then JotForm. We actually created moving condition forms, our workaround applications when we have to work outside of our system, even punch lists for our maintenance team. We developed some templates in JotForm so that those are clickable forms that people can do on their phone. We are paper free. We are not handing people this, itty bitty little boxes where they have to try to write whatever the issues are and then give that back to us in 7 days. They do that through a click through form that we created on JotForm. You could literally go to JotForm today, put in moving condition form and smart moves, and duplicate that template for yourself and put your own logo on it. If that could even be your win for tonight. But we don't do paper. As soon as our residents hit submit, I get an email. My maintenance supervisor gets an email. Same thing with the punch list. Big, big fans of that. All right. So what do you see? What are we looking at? So Square, this is like the back end of Square. So when I'm editing the 1-bedroom, the 2-bedroom, the 3-bedroom, and then the second screen on the right is actually what our customer sees. So very easy. That's the shareable link. That's one of our automations. When we're getting people and they're inquiring, is it available? Can I tour? It automatically sends them this link so that they can go and book their own tour. That's free. We pay zilch dollars to use that Square booking site. There's a picture of me putting the Bluetooth lockbox right on the door. So excited. That's a picture of our Bluetooth lockbox. And then here is actually a flyer that we have in the unit that says, are you ready to call this place home? So they're able to scan this QR code and it takes them directly to our application process and keeps the process moving. We're able to close, remove the person out of the way so that we can keep the application process moving 24/7. So here is an example of our workflow. We book the tour online. The prospect books online via the Square booking site. We collect the picture or photo ID, and we used to do Zoom interviews before we used Western Verify and the screen biometrics. Now we just do that. We might do Zoom in addition to that, whatever floats your boat. Once we've approved them for the tour, we create a duration code in the Igloo Home app on our smartphones, and then we share the code with instructions on how to access the box and the unit, as well as tour expectations. We use a platform called SalesMail, so it actually does video messaging that has call to action links. So just to make it even a little bit more user friendly, we've incorporated SalesMail now. And then we communicate through the tour. So we communicate before the tour, during the tour, and after the tour. We share online applications as we're chatting, what they need to apply, and then any additional QR codes and flyers we leave in the apartment so that they don't, if for some reason we couldn't chat with them or they couldn't get a hold of us, they still have the capability to apply. Our move-in workflow looks something like this. So once they're approved, we generate a lease in small PDF. They're able to pay online through Yardi Breeze, through their rent portal, and take care of all that processes themselves. We then again create a one-time access code in the Igloo Home app, and we share the code with instructions again on how they can access their keys. Now inside their unit, we have a new flyer with QR codes that have a way that they can scan to pay their rent or view their online account, and then another QR code where they can complete that move-in condition form to keep things moving. So a little bit closer to see what that looks like here. And then an example on the right is actually what it looks like in jot form. So it's very, very sleek, very user friendly. Lots of great reviews on this. So here's another one too, where we've used it for our maintenance turn punch list. So on the other spectrum, when we were sending contractors into the unit, and then we'd be like, how come we didn't patch the drywall on the ceiling? Well, they didn't know it needed to be done, right? Well, we created a form in JotForm, which you could scan right here, and it goes literally room by room, and it makes the technician look up, look down, look around. They have to sign it. They can add photos to it. So you really could get some better bids and have a better understanding of what's going on to get the apartment ready. This is a picture of a Loom. So you can see kind of what that video recording library looks like live and in action. So we've used screen recording to help with education on software. So again, when Lisette and Alicia were new, we had to cover some more basics, like how do you put in a prospect into Yardi? How do you move a prospect to an application? How do we post scheduled charges? All of those things. Then I let them go on it, and then maybe they didn't do everything 100% because I am a little OCD. I was able to then refilm another video and was like, you're almost there. Here's where I would, make some adjustments and keep it going. Helped with fine tuning the task. We've also loved them because they have auto transcripts and they automatically remove ums. They even will categorize video chapters. So if people wanted to go and refer to a specific part, we try to keep our videos like under 10 minutes. But if they wanted to go to a specific part, then they can find that easily. So remember, as we're getting ready to turn this over to Q&A, technology often fails in the implementation because we're busy and it takes time, right? In some cases, you may need to visit the implementation several times. Please don't give up. Here are some tips. Start the conversation with your team, your owners, yourself early. Over communicate the why, the when, the how. Do implementation one step at a time. As I shared with Alexa, maybe we do delegate delete and we focus on one task each quarter we can peel off of our plate and give to someone else. Even by doing that, that's 4 tasks a year that you can give back to yourself for maybe 4 hours, maybe more, that you can give back to your family yourself to do something even more impactful. So revisit it each time with each member. If they're not on board, work out those kinks, stay diligent, and manage your expectations and be flexible. Figure out what was new for you. Hopefully you guys learned something new today. Let me know if you've got questions. Here, I'm going to turn it over to the Q&A, but here you can actually scan the QR code, or they've got the link up there. You're going to put in code SMART. You're going to answer 5 questions about the presentation today, good or bad. If it was awful and you hated it, I need to know that, right? Feedback is a gift. I need to know. At the end, it will take you directly to the Google Drive link. So again, removing me, you don't have to wait for me to email it to you. It will share with you today's PDF slide presentation, as well as a PDF of the do, delegate, delete, as well as a whole other slide deck to Outreach Marketing 101. So you can have a crash course in outreach marketing, which has some really cool tools in there too. And Alexa, I will turn it over to you.
I'm like over here doing the QR code. Guys, this is my second time hearing this presentation, and I just obviously loved it more this time because I'm not like in a rocking cruise, but like because it's like the second time I've heard this information, so I was able to grab a lot more because I was overwhelmed because I use a lot of these tools on a daily basis. I use Loom, I got a CRM, doing automation, the raffle even that you guys entered today, it's all automation and workflows. So with that being said, I do have a raffle winner, and you guys, please, before you jump off, please scan the QR code. I will be following up with each and every one of you with a thank you email with Megan's contact link. You guys, I know you want to get in touch with her. I'm already getting text messages from Christy. I love Christy so much, our star member over there, and we need to work together. We need to work together. So my raffle winner for the free 1-year membership is Carl H. Congratulations, Carl. I'll get in touch with you, and you already know I'll add that 1 year to your membership. So congratulations. And guys, time is up. So this is the time to put your questions in the Q&A. Throw them in the chat. I don't care anymore. Like, this is the last couple minutes with Megan. She's got to go. She's got to go. She's a busy woman. She's probably like flying out in the morning. So yes, the link is, let me see if I can type that. Actually, I can copy and paste it right now. Hold on 1 second. I already scanned it. So I may put that link in the chat for you guys. Here
Thank
you
you.
are. If you're on your phone, go ahead and check out the chat right now. And you can get that link that Megan has on the screen. So you get the slides, you get the bonuses, and you tell her your feedback on the presentation. Like she said, the feedback is very, very valuable. And with that being said, I'm going to ask you if you loved this meeting tonight, which I absolutely did. This is like my favorite topic. Like I'm just obsessed. Please give us 5 stars on Google. I know you guys loved this, and I know that it was super impactful. So even if you're watching the replay on YouTube, please go ahead and give us 5 stars on this session so we can get Megan back. I'm praying, you guys. She's absolutely in high demand right now. So we are so grateful that we could get her tonight. It looks like you blew them away, Megan. So, because I'm
We're
not seeing any
speechless.
questions. I did see one question come through, but I went ahead and answered it in the Q&A. Somebody was asking about the locks, and those locks are super impressive. Like I made sure to take pictures when I saw you talk about that on
And
the cruise.
I
So
a quick tip on that, guys. So they retail for right around between $250 to $300. I actually get mine on eBay. There are several
so
ones
smart.
I've been able to get them as low as $60. I think the last one I paid was roughly just about 80. So if you are like, oh, that's a barrier for me, don't go with a cheaper lock. I have tried the less expensive locks and they have burnt me every single way they could by, failing to let the keys out, not working when I connected. Igloo has never ever failed me, and I have been using them for 5 years now.
That is a great tip, you guys. Save $150. Go on eBay and get the Igloo home lock. That is such a
Yeah.
great tip. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so you guys, please look out for my email. I'm going to show you how each and every one of you can book a call with Megan. It's obviously first come, first serve, depending on her availability. You guys have to get in touch with her if that's what you want. To get in touch with her directly. Not, I know I can't be the middleman, and she's giving me the calendar link, and I couldn't be more grateful. So you guys go right to her, get in touch with her, click the link in the chat for her feedback. Please help her out with that. That is so valuable, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you guys so much for the positive comments in the chat. I really appreciate that. I know Megan does too. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Megan. Oh, I'm so grateful. That was such a great call. And I know that you're just such a great person, impacting so many people in their businesses and really just giving us confidence that like we can do this. We can do this,
You
guys.
can. And thank you guys for everything that you're doing, you know, there in Florida. I love Florida, and everything you're doing for, I say the small but mighty operators. And this, it's such a close knit group, and I loved everything that I've been learning about RIA and National RIA, and you guys really have a good thing going on. And I'm gonna also, just so I don't, because I did see Lucio had posted that it wasn't letting him finish the survey. So don't worry, I will share with Alexa the link to the Google Drive so she can share that with you. So if anybody did have technical difficulties, we will get that info to you.
Yay. Thank you so much, Megan. You are awesome. And thank you guys. Look out for my email. If I need to give you a new link, I'll be sure to send you all that link tonight. So thank you guys so much. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. We have another webinar at 11 a.m. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on Zoom. And Megan, thank you so much. Please safe travels, and we will be in touch.
Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to connect. Bye.
Yes, it's gonna be great. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for coming.